I decided to do my masters to further my own professional development and do some research with children, and then when I found out about the video idea I thought it was going to be quite interesting.
Teachers on a master's course at Cumbria University are engaged in their practitioner research. They've chosen to do this through video.
I decided to focus on how to make the school council work more effectively. The children used the video camera to interview each other first, and then we asked someone who wasn't in the school council to video a school council meeting.
What's our job in the school council?
I know we already do Pudsey, Macmillan, Red Nose Day and lots of other fun things.
The thing that surprised me when I watched the tapes back was that the children had said that they knew what they were doing better when they made the decisions, and I thought back to a project that we did where the children were the experts and they decided what their jobs were.
Maybe once a month or something we could gather everybody in the hall and ask them what they want to do.
So I feel like I'm halfway through my research at the moment. I'm going to carry on working with the school council, continue to use the video camera so they can reflect on how the meeting's gone and what they could do next time.
What is your name?
Abby.
Alana.
Rebecca. My name is Emily Rose.
Toby.
David.
Lewis.
Laura. My name is Hannah Louise.
Rachel.
Charlotte.
Molly.
Shona.
My name is Natasha.
Katie.
Josh.
Jessica.
What's your role in the school council?
I'm treasurer. I'm treasurer's assistant.
I'm chair of school council.
I'm vice chair.
Why is it better when you get to make the decisions?
Well, because we know what we want and we make the decisions and then we make it better ourselves so we don't have help all the time.
Because it's not like just an organised lesson, you get to choose what you're doing.
Because, well, if we do it, we know what we're meant to do. It's because we get to decide on what we actually want instead of the teacher deciding on everything we have to do.
The children were interviewed by each other in groups and were able to hear each other's responses to the questions. When watching the footage back, I have seen that the children were giving similar responses, therefore some of the data is not reliable. I will need to consider this when using the data to draw conclusions. The question about why is it better when you get to make the decisions stimulated some good responses, one of which being that the children know what they are supposed to be doing when they have decided what they are doing, rather than being told by the teacher. As I have noticed that the children prefer working under their own plans and instruction, I thought it might be a good idea to try and use a mantle of the expert approach when planning the next event. This approach allows the children to become experts and solve problems in a practical situation. I think if we use our mantle of the expert work that we've done in the past as a discussion point for the start of the meeting, we might understand how an organisation like the school council should work. Can you remember when we did the mantle of the expert work?
Yep.
Yeah. In that work, you got to make your own decisions about what you were doing, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay, so why do you think that worked particularly well?
The teacher just advised us and we made pretty much our own decisions.
Because we knew what to do better because we planned it, so we knew what we were doing better than being told what we were doing.
What about if we sort of used a mantle of the expert approach to our school council, where everyone has a job and everyone has a role and people have to get their jobs done? Do you think the school council might work better if we sort of thought about it like that?
Yeah.
Why do you think it would work better?
Because if we all pretended that it was a job and you actually or to make school better, then you might try and take it more seriously.
If we thought of the school council as more of a proper job, would we take it more seriously and would we get more things done if we did it that way?
Yeah.
I have been thinking a lot about the focus of my study and the question that I originally set out to research. After discussing with the school council about using Mantle of the Expert and how it affects our performance, I would like to change the focus of my study to see if this drama convention allows the school council to run more effectively. However, I need to do a lot more work with the school council about their individual roles and responsibilities first. The school council are already an organisation within the school, so I would like to ask them why the members are not taking their roles seriously. As I have seen that the use of Mantle of the Expert has worked effectively with these children in the past, I am considering using a drama convention with the children to allow them to step into their role with more enthusiasm. Perhaps if the children represented school counsellors, we could use this to reflect on and identify what they looked like and what behaviours they were modelling. This might give the children more of an idea of what they should be doing. However, this technique is usually used in a fictional context. I need to get the school council to understand that they are an organisation and that this is not a fiction. My next step is to identify with the school council what each member's roles and responsibilities are. They need to understand that they do have roles and responsibilities. I think that it is important that every member of the school council feels valued and understands what they are part of. I would like to do a lot more work with the school council about their roles and responsibilities and ask them questions such as, do you know what your role is? Do you know how a school council runs effectively? Do you know what you should be doing? Do you know what a school counsellor is supposed to do?
The course tutor, Dr. Pete Boyd, discusses the value of the research so far.
But do you think the project is about the learning that the children get from taking part in school council? Or is it actually about making the school council more effective in shaping the school?
I think it's more about giving the children independence and some responsibility about what they would like from the school, and giving them the opportunity to speak up and tell the teachers who usually make all the decisions, give them a chance to tell us what they really want.
Danielle, what do you feel about this study in terms of student voice and using the school council?
I'm with Claire when she says that a school council can be very powerful, as we've got one in our school, and the children absolutely thrive from it, and it has made the children a tighter unit within the school and they feel like they're listened to. And I can see from Claire's footage that that's what she's aiming the children to do, is to just speak louder about what they want. So I do think it has to be a whole school approach, but you can see from the film that it definitely is with that many children on the school council.
Deborah, do you want to pursue that idea, that the way that school council was actually working?
It was a relatively recent addition to what was going on in school. And the children realised that they were responsible for making money for charities. In the last sort of 2 years or so, that's what the school council role had very much been. But the staff very much saw the opportunity of the school council developing in a much wider sense in terms of that pupil voice and empowerment for pupils in terms of making them very much more central to the learning that was going on in school.
We could ask if anyone wanted the school improved in any way, like in learning, if they wanted to learn something else.
We could ask everybody like what activity they wanted to do, so there's something that they want to do and not just what everybody else wants to do.
We could go around the school with a little camera and interview everyone on what they'd like the school to improve or what they wouldn't like to happen in any way.
Does everybody agree with that idea? Yeah. Put your hands up if you do.
What do you think about this idea of practitioner research in schools as a sort of way of changing practice and developing practice? What are the pressures and what sort of support do you think the school needs to provide?
I think if schools want to comment on things that should be taught, the best way of doing that is actually to do their own practitioner research in school and to find out what works for them and for their children in their context, because learning is very contextually based. And for staff to learn, I think it's a really, really valuable way of them looking at their own practice and seeing what needs to happen and what they can do. And I think it's very empowering for staff in terms of their own learning.
I can imagine time is a big issue for, say, writing up your study.
Yeah, I think it will be. And I probably will find it quite difficult because I will put school first.
You're in effect capturing qualitative data through your video, and a good approach with qualitative data is to analyse it as you go along and to write brief bits of writing as you go along.
I think obviously because we've used video we can go back and look at it. It's not just like a normal research project where you'd see something and then you might forget a couple of months down the line. Everything that we've seen we can go back and look at in years to come. And I recorded our video diary, so that's sort of brought our thoughts together as well, like a couple of times through the process. So I think I'll probably find that quite useful when I come to do my writing.
What would you like the school council to do?
Well, more non-uniform days.
A pyjama party after school one day.
What do you like playing in the playground?
I like skipping with Elizabeth and Emily.
Play with a parachute.
See?
School dinners, what would you like? Pizza. Spaghetti. Sausage. Nice vegetables and fruit.
We've learned as a whole school how video and film can have an impact on reflection, not only for the practitioner but also for the children. And I think unless I'm learning from the children, then I'm not developing my own professionalism. So I think the children are the priority.
In a way, you have found the time to do the pragmatic part of it and the data collection, and you have been thinking and analysing as you go along, and your expression of that in your videos is very powerful and convincing. The question is what value we can give that. You know, as a university, what value can we give that kind of expression of analysis and thinking, and how much further do we need to take those films to say there's some credit at master's level for them? I mean, Deborah, what's your perspective on that?
I would agree the data is very valuable and it's useful in schools, and staff, you know, like Danielle and Claire, share it with their colleagues in a verbal sense and maybe would show them the footage. But I can also appreciate that in the kind of master's sense, to really kind of get to grips with it in some ways, you do have to write it up. Maybe we should be looking more creatively in terms of using video as a sharing sort of experience for doing, you know, sharing research with colleagues.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There could be other ways, and there certainly are on most typical MAs, a variety of assessment types, and they might be more appropriate for sharing with your colleagues. But it's the thinking, it's the time for the thinking and the analysis, I think, that raises it to master's level.